Community members are out on the beautiful South Saskatchewan River in their canoes and kayaks, and in just a little bit I'll be joining them on the water. But first, the Saskatoon Canoe Club will be teaching us more about their organization and their passion for this sport. It's all coming up on today's Go on Shaw TV, which all starts right now. Coming up, we find out what worthy cause has community members biking around the city. And Saskatoon's Muslim community is thanking Canadians for their support as they celebrate a milestone.
Hi, I'm Elvira, and I'm a service specialist here in Saskatoon, and you are watching Shaw TV.
Shaw TV, your local voice.
The Saskatoon Canoe Club provides community members with the opportunity to learn how to canoe and kayak. But before we learn more about this organization, let's throw it over to a Saskatoon singing group that is also providing opportunities to children with and without disabilities, as Simon Hyatt tells us in our first story.
While being unique is the type of thing that is typically encouraged by the Kids of Note group, they have decided they no longer want to be one of a kind. As of right now, they are quite different from most choirs that feature disabled performers, who are typically the only members.
Or you'll have a typical choir where maybe 2 or 3 are let into the choir. But what we've done is we've normalized the idea of people who have disabilities being full partners.
And founding director Brenda Baker says there are enormous benefits for everyone involved when disabled and non-disabled singers perform together.
The folks who are typical learn so much about a much richer life, a better understanding of what it means to live in a community with differences. The folks that have those differences feel much more confident and welcomed in the world, like they have a place.
After spending the past 11 years dazzling audiences in Saskatoon, Baker and the Kids of Note are attempting to spread that message to the entire world. They are planning to make a documentary to encourage other communities to follow in their footsteps. The movie will be based around footage shot at last year's 10th anniversary concert, as well as other material from the archives.
We've already collected some interviews with singers and parents, with friends, between friends who are in the choir. And this mix, it's really important. It's not just about the folks who have disabilities, it's also about the folks who are typical and what the choir has meant to them.
The group has launched a crowdfunding campaign through an American website, generosity.com. chosen because it doesn't charge a percentage fee to charities.
We're looking for $38,000 American, and almost half of that is to pay for the songs that we want to be able to put into, keep in the show, in the documentary, to make it, that much richer. The more music, the better.
They have set a deadline of June 30th to raise the money. They will then assess what kind of scope the documentary will have and begin the search for a broadcast partner. There are also plans to have the documentary online as part of a larger effort.
I think this is also a call out to folks to understand that we have a long way to go in developing programs that are truly an integration kind of model where everyone feels welcome.
For more information, visit kidsofnote.com. For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Simon Hyatt.
The summer is here, so it is time to get out onto our beautiful South Saskatchewan River. Joining me right now is Edith, and she is the marathon director with the Saskatoon Canoe Club, an organization I'm learning a lot about. Edith, for the community members out there, what is the Saskatoon Canoe Club?
Saskatoon Canoe Club is a club that anyone can join who's interested in getting in a boat and paddling. We've got canoes, we've got kayaks, we have Marathon Division has racing boats, so whatever your level, you can join. It's cheap, it's $50. You can sign up online, get an orientation, and you have free access to the boats. So most people join the recreational. You can join either. Marathon is more oriented to people who are interested in fitness paddling, tippier, faster racing type shells. You don't necessarily have to race, but we will teach you how to how to paddle quick and fast, and if you're into racing, you can try through the marathon division. The recreational division has lots of different kinds of boats suited to beginner paddlers, to intermediate paddlers, so anyone can enjoy a boat there. Both the divisions do have group paddles, so there's community there no matter where you fit in. So
I love that. $50 membership, and you have unlimited access to canoes and kayaks all summer long?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And kayaks. Now, speaking of paddling enthusiasts, this is something you've done for many, many years. Tell us how you got started in this and why you love canoeing and paddling so much.
I first got in a boat when I was 9 months old. My parents were avid. 9 months old? Wow. I don't remember much. I love it. My parents were avid paddlers, so they did a lot of canoe tripping, and didn't see any reason not to throw me in the boat and give me a stick, so in I went. And I just grew up around canoes. Later on, they homesteaded up north of the Churchill River, and there were no roads up there, so we used a boat pretty much every day. So I grew up learning how to paddle the family car, which was a canoe.
I love that. So being a part of this club, of course, as the marathon director, but even just as a member, what has this club and the skills that you've learned really taught you for life?
This club has given me an amazing community of like-minded people, and that's the best thing it's given me. I've learned how to paddle much more efficiently than I ever knew was possible. I thought paddling was paddling, you get in a boat, you make it go, but there's so much more to it than that. So I found people that have opened up opportunities for me. I'm racing internationally now. I never would have thought that was a possibility either. And trips with people too. So in the rec division, there's a lot of people I hear saying that they've really enjoyed the community they found through the group paddles that are weekly and the canoe trips that people go on and they organize, and they really, really enjoy that.
All right, well, that sounds fun. I can't wait to get out on the water. You can't just get into the canoe and start paddling. There's a lot of skills and safety that you should go over before hopping out onto the water, and Trevor is going to explain all of that in our next segment. Thank you so much, Edith.
Thank you.
Punch TV is the nerdiest show in Saskatoon. If you like comics, movies, games, stellar events, and anything in geekdom, you'll love Punch TV. Host Jody Kaysen takes you in-depth with artists, writers, and guests from across the province, the world, heck, even the galaxy. Plus, regular updates from The Collector, The Movie Geek, and Tweetbeat. Watch Punch TV only on Shaw TV.
Later on the show, it's time to get paddling as Janella takes in the South Saskatchewan River from inside a canoe. And if you like an adventure, we get details on some great canoeing vacation packages. From canoes to a 30-person bike, it's the season to get out and enjoy nature. But before we attempt to take this canoe out onto the water, here's a look at how community members are staying active while supporting the Heart and Stroke Foundation. Employees of Saskatoon's Robertson Stromberg bared the brisk temperatures to bring awareness to a cause that hits home for the law firm.
Many of us have been directly impacted by somebody who has suffered from heart disease or suffered from heart issues or stroke. We're most recently one of our lawyers before Christmas, and so because of that, when we were approached, we were quite excited to get involved.
Ready? Let's go!
Pereira's is just one of 113 teams from across Saskatchewan to take part in the Heart and Stroke Foundation's Big Bike campaign, a longtime fundraiser that continues to gain community support.
The Big Bike for the Heart and Stroke Foundation is one of the largest community fundraising events we have here in Saskatchewan. The money will go to creating more survivors across the country and helping to decrease the risk of heart disease and stroke. This year, for the first time here in Saskatchewan, we're breaking numbers of the number of teams that we're riding, and we're riding in 51 communities in the province. Our goal is to have 10,000 kilometers with 3,000 participants, raising $300,000.
The Robertson-Stromberg team will help add to this total. Together, they raised more than $5,000. All proceeds will stay within the province, helping those affected by heart disease in any capacity, an invaluable service to Prera's family.
My mom just got out of the cardiac unit this past week, and she was able to interact with people from Heart and Stroke, and even went home with a heart and stroke pillow to sort of help her through her recovery.
Whether or not participants have experienced the impact heart disease can have, Big Bike ambassadors Alana Bugera and Kendra Mendel say the event is just plain fun.
We are going around Saskatchewan with a 30-passenger bike. Every team who registers to ride the bike raises money that goes toward the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So we're traveling all over Saskatchewan this summer with the big bike. It's so much fun. Everyone who gets on the bike has so much fun. We have music, we have water guns, noise makers. It's so great. I'm so happy to be a part of a community and the Heart and Stroke Foundation and a cause that's so much bigger than all of us. So it's really exciting to be a part of.
With 30 seats, 60 pedals, and a flood of red, the Big Bike is sure to raise awareness when traveling through various Saskatchewan communities this summer.
Every 7 minutes in Canada, someone dies of heart disease or stroke, so it's important to create awareness as well as raise money to create survivors.
I actually know a few people who have, from my family who've been touched by heart disease and stroke, so it's always nice to be able to get back to the community and find help support future research.
The Heart and Stroke Foundation is very involved in getting people physically active, and it's one of the best ways to get a group of your coworkers or friends, family involved and actually get out there and have some fun.
Big Bike Ride Days will take place until the end of August. For more information on how you can get involved or when the Big Bike will be passing through your community, visit heartandstroke.sk.ca. We are getting some helpful hints on how to canoe on today's show. Joining me right now is Trevor, and he is a member and volunteer with the Saskatoon Canoe Club. Now, Trevor, we were talking to Edith earlier, and she mentioned, you can't just hop into a canoe and automatically know what you're doing. There is a lot of skill and safety that you should know before going into a canoe. Obviously, we have our life jackets on, so we're being safe, but what else is there before you hit the water?
As you touched on life jacket, you want to make sure your life jacket fits you properly and that you have it properly fitted for you, because it is quite important that the straps are tightened and it's secure on your body to keep you safe while you're paddling. In the event that you do tip, it's unlikely, but it does happen. So you just want to be prepared for all situations. It's also really important to know what's going on with the weather. Once you've been paddling for a while, you'll have an understanding of what your skills are, and the weather can play a big factor in your safety. So know if there's a thunderstorm rolling in, know what the winds are, what the wind directions are, and be aware of your surroundings is really quite important.
So someone should not go canoeing when it's extremely windy outside?
Definitely you need to throw a lot of caution into that situation. If you have to ask the question, now is it safe enough for me to paddle in this wind, then you probably have already answered the question. If you don't have the confidence that, yes, I've experienced this before, then you probably should not.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. Now, Trevor, before we talk about some skills that you need before hopping into this canoe, how did your passion for canoeing and paddling come to be?
I think it started when I was young, camping with my family and spending a lot of time up at the lake in PA National Park. And we always had our canoe, and we would always paddle and fish out of that. And then it went into Boy Scouts, and I liked it so much, I actually started my first race when I was 12 years old. So
wow.
Haven't looked back since then.
Haven't looked back. And I didn't even know you could race canoes, but evidently that's just something we are learning here with the Saskatoon Canoe Club. I'm seeing everyone come out now. What is everyone up to right now?
This is a very common time of day for the people to come and train for canoeing, for rowing. We've got some rowing shells that went by there.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of different divisions. So we've got the flatwater division that is involved in the sprint canoe and kayak, and then ours is the, as we touched on earlier, is recreational canoeing as well as marathon. I think this is an absolutely amazing resource we have here, and I'm down here almost every day. So
Really?
it's some days twice. So yeah.
Some days twice. What is it about being out in the water that you love so much?
It's you get in the boat and you paddle for 5 minutes and you forget you're in the city. In fact, 10 minutes you'll be outside of the city. It's you're able to connect with nature and see wildlife, and it's a lot of stress relief, and it's just beautiful.
Well, you're saying that now because you haven't had me in the canoe yet. So just wait till I hop into that canoe. Hopefully I don't tip it over, but we do have the life jackets on, so we'll be okay. I can't wait to try it out. I'm extremely excited to get into this canoe. So let's not waste any more time. Thank you so much, Trevor.
Sounds great.
Punch TV, it's the nerdiest show on the airwaves, featuring artists, geeks, and special guests who love comics, toys, and pop culture. Watch Punch TV, only on Shaw TV.
We are celebrating the warm weather by getting out onto the beautiful South Saskatchewan River in a canoe. As you can see, I've got my life jacket on, but before we hit the water, let's take a look at a different celebration that was held earlier this week, recognizing a milestone for Saskatoon's Muslim community. Simon Hyatt was there and brings us the details.
A celebration in front of City Hall Wednesday night brought together people of all religions, colors, and backgrounds. But they all had one thing in common. A tremendous amount of Canadian pride.
This celebration is about showing our gratefulness, our thankfulness to God, and our thankfulness to Canadians that we have enjoyed freedom. This is the greatest gift we have received.
The event was held to mark the 50th anniversary of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat in Canada. National President Law Malik says the organization is mostly made up of persecuted people from Pakistan who feel blessed to have found freedom in Canada. And they are showing their gratitude through a few different charitable initiatives.
We are having a collection of 1 million pounds of food for alleviating hunger in Canada as a gesture of our celebration. And also recently we have pledged $100,000 for the victims of Fort McMurray fires.
President Malik says the group is different from other Islamic organizations in that they believe the Messiah has already returned. It's also the only one to endorse a separation of mosque and state. He says part of the mission of the organization is to dispel misconceptions people have about Islam.
We reject all violence in the name of religion, and we believe that love of our land is part of our faith, and respect of the law of the land is part of our faith. And our slogan is love for all and hatred for none.
For Go on Shaw TV, I'm Simon Hyatt.
Well, it is that time we get to head out onto the water. Joining me again is Trevor from the Saskatoon Canoe Club. Trevor, before we hop into the canoe, of course, we should learn a little bit about paddling and whatever else we need to know. What's the first step?
Well, I guess tipping is obviously something that can happen. So if you just rock the boat back and forth, and if you don't stay balanced in the boat, bad things can happen. So definitely try to sit balanced, sit up tall when you're in the canoe, lean a little bit forward, and always stay balanced. When you're getting into the canoe, out of the canoe, your center mass should always be in the middle of the boat. When you're going to try and enter the canoe, I'll get you to set your paddle across and keep your hand in the middle, and then step right into the middle of the canoe, and then gently sit down.
Okay, perfect. And then once we're in the water, I don't know what to do with this thing.
Okay, so general principle is your top hand is more or less over your bottom hand. You want to reach in front of you up by your feet, and then you want to pull the canoe forward and pull the canoe forward, and as you do, the paddle will pass you, and then take it out, and then start again, put it in.
Start again. And how far back do I paddle?
If you bring it back around your hip, that would be about a good rule of thumb.
All right, well that sounds good. Anything else we need to know before we do this?
Always think of safety first, always have a plan, and have fun.
And have fun. Most of all, have fun. All right, we're about to do this. Let's hop on in.
So with your arms more or less straight, you want to reach out forward, reach out by your toes, and you want your top hand to be over your bottom and just pull the canoe forward. And that's the first step of paddling right there. Okay, so it might help if you lean forward a little bit. You want to reach forward and paddle where your feet are so that you get a longer stroke forward, and try to keep your top hand over your bottom. Stay centered in the boat, grab it with your hand, yeah, that's okay. So you can set the paddle in the boat behind you. Okay. Okay, so now grab the boat in front of you and stand up, keeping your weight in the middle of the canoe, and then step out onto the dock. Yeah, step out quickly, don't wait or you'll, yeah, very good. Oh, but don't let go of the canoe. Yeah, I'm gone.
He's floating up the creek without me. Well, as my first canoeing experience, the tranquility of the South Saskatchewan River was just picturesque. I absolutely loved it, Trevor. Thank you so much for giving me some tips when heading out onto the water. How did I do?
Oh, you did very good. And I'd just like to point out the weather as a safety note, how quickly it can change. As you can see when we were paddling just a minute or two ago, it was quite nice. And it's really important to know your environment, know your conditions around you.
Exactly. This definitely isn't ideal weather, but nonetheless, I had lots of fun. And hey, note to self, when hopping out of the canoe, don't just let go. Were you okay, Trevor? You just start floating away.
Yeah, usually you want to hold the canoe and support your partner there.
I'm so sorry, but hey, now I know. Thank you so much again for having us here. The Saskatoon Canoe Club is a great place to go to learn more about canoeing and kayaking. Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks so much. It was fun.
Creating local TV that matters to your community. Shaw TV, your local voice.
As we've learned on today's show, canoeing is a great family activity, and there are so many options here in Saskatchewan. Lisa Rism introduces us to a Prince Albert man who is teaching community members a thing or two about this sport.
There's some breathtaking scenery found on the shores of rivers, according to Dwight Bergstrom.
Our northern Saskatchewan here, when you get up into that Precambrian Shield area and all that rock and the beauty that's up there, it is just stunning. And people do come from all over Canada and the U.S. and Europe and all kinds of places to come and paddle there and to fish and to camp and that kind of thing.
Many others agree. Tourism Saskatchewan made this advertisement of the Churchill River. The ministry hasn't specifically studied the popularity of canoeing, but a 2014 survey indicates that 400,000 overnight visitors included boating or camping in their activities. Bergstrom is encouraging people to check out Saskatchewan waterways in their own backyard.
It's a crying shame when people from Saskatchewan, don't get up and take advantage of it.
He gives seminars like this one to help people prepare. Pre-planning is important. Trips should include the proper safety and camping gear. Graphite paddles can lighten the load, and lessons are recommended for first-time paddlers.
In canoeing, you could put yourself at risk a little bit, and it's pretty frustrating if you go out and you just paddle around in a circle and you don't get anywhere. So if you can take some lessons, it's whatever sport it is.
The Churchill River system is one waterway Bergstrom recommends.
The Churchill River is probably one of the better known rivers up in the Shield country in northern Saskatchewan, but there's, if you fly over there or look at the maps, I mean, it's just endless water and waterways that you can travel, and they're all just beautiful and stunning place to travel.
Interest in paddleboards and kayaking is also growing. Canoeing can bring family and friends together and is a good way to connect with nature and your physical prowess. For Go, I'm Lisa Rism.
Our time out on the water has come to a close, and although it is a little windy and starting to rain, we still had a great time with the Saskatoon Canoe Club. Of course, if you want to learn a little bit more about canoeing and kayaking, make sure you go to saskatooncanoeclub.org. Thanks so much for joining us on today's show. We hope to see you out on the water this summer.